Hello, I am the 8th best Ghostface in the world. That sounds really weird to say. Really, I'm just the person who's probably played Ghostface the 8th most. I've hovered around the top 10 pretty much ever since he came out. Today I'm going to be doing an add-on tier list. I've never done any kind of tier list like this, but I'm going to be real, most of Ghostface add-ons aren't that great, and I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm going to start with the greys and just kind of move on in rarity. I notice these are like really out of order. Hold up. Alright, that's a lot better. So starting with Philly. The Philly add-on makes your marking speed 10% faster. Now, on paper, this is good. 10% is slightly noticeable, but nowhere near as noticeable as the previous 20% it used to have. I would say it used to be like an S tier add-on, but ever since they nerfed it, well, they made it slightly part of base and then slightly nerfed it. It's really nowhere near as impactful on matches, and you can probably go without using it. I think it's probably a high B tier. Next up, we got the Walleyes Matchbook. This is a little bit better in my opinion. It makes you recover your Night Shroud 3 seconds faster. Again, I'm pretty sure this used to be 6 seconds, but then they nerfed it to be only 3 seconds, and again, made it slightly part of the base. I definitely think you will get more use out of this. It pretty much ensures now if you down someone with your power, by the time you hook them and get away from the hook, this will ensure that you have your ability back. And in some ways, this actually is better than one of the Eerie add-ons, so I'm gonna put it in A tier. I don't think it's S anymore. I don't think either of these are S anymore. I don't think any of his greys are S anymore, but they're solid. Next up, we got the headline cutouts. This makes your stalking movement speed 40% faster. Now, that is a pretty significant number, 40%. However, this only really affects you if you're stand stalking, so essentially not leaning. If you don't know, leaning with Ghostface makes you stalk like way faster, so having movement speed is rather pointless with that in mind. Like when you're stalking, you should 90% of the time be leaning. You shouldn't be stand stalking. It's just so much slower, you're more exposed, it's less efficient. The only time you should be stand stalking is when someone's a 99 and you just need to finish them off. That being said, this add-on still isn't terrible. It's just a good Ghostface should never be stand stalking. I'm gonna put it C tier. I find this add-on is more useful around certain loops where you're kind of struggling to lean stalk them and you kind of are forced to stand stalk them, but outside of that very niche situation, you don't need this add-on. Speaking of add-ons you don't need, we've got the cheap cologne. This essentially makes it so that survivors stay marked for 10 seconds longer. They already do stay marked for a very long period, especially after the buffs they've given him. So having this is just not that necessary. Like, if you're chasing a survivor who's exposed to the point where this add-on actually comes into play and allows you to get the down, you're probably chasing him for too long, man. Really, with Ghostface, the ideal playstyle is you don't want to be chasing people. You just want to mark them and instantly down them within a few seconds. And there are other add-ons which help with this. You don't want to be having big extended chases with survivors who are marked, especially to the point where the exposed status is actually running out and you need this add-on. So it will give you value, I suppose, in some games, but it's not good and you shouldn't be using it. It's very counterintuitive to the ideal Ghostface playstyle, so I'm going to put it C tier. A lot lower than this one though. Alright, next up is the telephoto lens. This makes it so that any survivor that reveals a Ghostface is put into the oblivious status for 60 seconds. This is okay. However, I am playing a stealth killer. If they reveal me, sure, they will be oblivious, but they already likely know where I am in that situation. And 60 seconds, like, that's kind of pointless to be that long, since I get my power back a lot quicker than 60 seconds. I don't need to wait that long. So personally, I don't see the use of this add-on unless you're really serious about stealth. I think there are much better add-ons to use. I don't see this giving you any value in most games. Next up, we've got Olsen's Journal. This is a really pointless add-on. Essentially, when you mark a survivor, they are now inflicted with Oblivious, just like this one. However, at least with the case of this one, it's after they revealed you, so they definitely would not be inflicted with Oblivious to begin with. But this is really counterintuitive, because to mark a survivor, you need to be in undetectable mode, you need to be in stealth mode, which essentially renders them oblivious. So when you do expose them, you're already in that status effect, so you don't need to give it to them more. You can't. Additionally, when they are marked, they can't take Ghostface out of his stealth mode, so they're stuck in oblivious no matter what. This add-on is completely pointless. The only situation where this may be good for you is if that weird glitch happens where you expose a survivor and they reveal you at the same time, but Jeez, that is not worth using. This is probably the worst add-on in the game. Olsen's Address Book is a much more solid add-on choice. Essentially, when a survivor vaults while marked, their aura is revealed for 5 seconds. So kind of like I'm All Ears, but like really good and no cooldown as long as they're marked. That being said, this is quite map dependent. Some maps this will really help you on, like Macmillan for example, but other maps where there isn't many vaults, you're not going to get much use out of this add-on. Though it is very good, and if you do combine it with I'm All Ears, you're getting constant auras on vaults. It's really nice. I'm going to put this B tier. I don't know, is it better than this? I would say it isn't, because this you will always get value out of to an extent, but this you mightn't always get value out of. It is really good though, and definitely worth using. Next up we got Marked Map, which increases the duration of Killer Instinct by 2 seconds. Now, getting Killer Instinct is nice I suppose, but it isn't the best part of his power. It essentially just tells you where a survivor is that reveals you. Once you see it for even 1 second, you don't need to see it anymore. And usually if you turn around in time, you will see it. You don't need this duration to be extended. So I do find this to be a rather pointless add-on. It isn't completely useless, but it's not good. You'd be better off using another add-on. So the Kinch Straps add-on is really bad. Makes it so when you when you do a failed basic attack, so essentially just swing at nothing while in stealth mode, it doesn't pull you out of your power. However, you really shouldn't be missing swings in the first place, and even if you are, like if you're whiffing a swing and you're that close to a survivor, they're probably just going to pull you out of your power anyway. It doesn't really matter that you won't be revealed by yourself, they'll pull you out themselves. So yeah, I think this is an utterly pointless add-on. It's kind of fun just swinging and not being taken out of your power, but that's pretty much it. There's way better add-ons to use. It's almost as bad as this one. Actually, is it? They're both really bad, I don't know. Olsen's Wallet is a lot better. Whenever you kick a pallet or a breakable wall, it recovers your power instantly. Now this is good. I definitely think its goodness has gone up since the Billy add-on got nerfed. But still, the main issue with this add-on is that it's sort of situational. Like if you're playing Gideon Meat Plant, you're gonna really get some value out of this. But other maps, not so much. It really depends on how many pallets there are and if you're actually breaking them. If you're going to combine this with maybe Brutal Strength or Spirit Fury Enduring, this is a very solid add-on. But in general, I don't think it is the absolute best for you to be using. It's definitely solid. I'd say it is better than the Address Book simply because you get more value on average per game. But there are better add-ons to use as well. The Leather Knife Sheath increases your crouched movement speed by 10%. This is solid. 10% is a good number, but realistically when you're crouched as Ghostface, you're not really caring about movement speed, it's more about being stealthy. This can be nice around certain loops, but ultimately this isn't that great of an add-on. It doesn't assist you in any meaningful way. Like usually when you're crouched, you don't really care about movement speed. Essentially, since you can just exit it with a touch of a button. I think it's okay though. It's not insultingly bad, but it's not that great. I'm going to put it at the very end of B tier. Okay, Lasting Perfume. This is interesting, as I personally believe this should be base. I don't actually think it's good that survivors can reveal Ghostface while they're on a hook. I know people say camping, but if you want to camp with Ghostface, your best bet is to go way back and just lean stalk. You don't want to be sitting next to the hook as Ghostface, especially with all the anti-camp measures in place. But obviously they're never going to get rid of that mechanic. This essentially makes it so survivors take 3 seconds longer to reveal Ghostface when he's on the hook. Now, I think you should just be invincible from it, personally. I don't think 3 seconds is an awful long time at all. However, this does allow you to be a bit more risky around the hook, I suppose. I just really think this should not be an add-on, and really it is not worth using. If you want to camp with Ghostface, there are way more effective ways of doing it than actually just sitting right next to the hook. You don't want to be within reveal range. This is a good camping add-on though, I can't lie, it's probably the best one in the game. If you're into that kind of playstyle, it's good for you, but if you're not, then there's really no reason to use this add-on. Just get a fair distance away from the hook and then activate your power. I'll put it at the bottom of B tier. Next we got the Knife Belt Clip, which while crouching reduces your tear radius by 12 meters. Not a good add-on because your ability will literally eliminate your tear radius for unlimited meters at the press of a button. I don't understand these Ghostface add-ons which give you the effect you already have with your power. Like, why would I use this add-on when I can only just right click my mouse? I guess it isn't terrible, but like, I don't understand why you would ever use this. You can literally press one button and have 0 tear radius. And I guess this is supposed to be like if you're on a cooldown or something, but if they wanted it to be like that, they should just make it be completely undetectable while crouching. Then that would be good. Or make it so that the meters is way more than 12. 12 meters is really nothing, guys. So I'm going to put this at the top of D tier. Next we got the chewed pen, which makes it take 3 seconds longer for survivors to reveal the ghost face when in the dying state. So essentially when they're slugged. Now this is very similar to the perfume in this way. It's almost like the other counterpart. One is for when they're hooked and the other is for when they're slugged. To determine which is more valuable, you really gotta think which are you going to be getting more use out of in a game. Personally me, I don't find myself slugging with Ghostface in a lot of situations. He's just not a great killer to slug with in general. He's got no real snowball potential unless you have a bunch of people 99, which is quite situational. Like usually when I down someone, I'm picking them up straight away. But it really depends on your playstyle, and I could understand you liking this add-on, especially if you combine it with another add-on we see later on this list. I would say it is better than the perfume, but not by much. I'd say I put it here. Victim's detailed routine is solid. When you expose a survivor, it inflicts them with the exhausted status effect for 5 seconds. So any survivor that you mark cannot instantly use their exhaustion perks. This is good, and you can definitely counter a lot of sprint burst plays with this. I personally believe that any add-on which requires survivors to have a perk for it to get value just cannot be S tier. That being said, it is a good add-on, no doubt. You will get value out of this on maybe not every game, but in a lot of your games. And while it may not be ultra noticeable, it will help. I'm going to put this at a high B tier. I don't think it's better than getting faster stalks. I think it's very close, like these two are interchangeable. But I think you will get more consistent value out of this than this. Although you could definitely make an argument of this being better and potentially a low A tier. I think it's actually quite solid. The night vision monocular is not so good. It's similar. Now when a survivor exposes you, they get inflicted with the exhausted status effect, this time for 10 seconds. Now whether it's 5 seconds or 10 seconds is ultimately pointless, as the exhausted status effect won't go until they stop running. And ideally, once you inflict them with this perk, you're going to be in chase with them, so they won't be losing the exhausted status effect. It being 10 seconds does not make it all that much better in my opinion. 5 seconds is enough, but I guess it's a little bit better with the 10 seconds. The main issue is with the detailed routine, you actually control when they're going to be inflicted with the exhausted status effect. But for this, you have no control. If they reveal you, which you ideally don't want to happen, then they get inflicted with it. So quite often, if you're gonna chase someone with this, you're doing it at an unideal time for you. This seems more calculated and like a decision on Ghostface's part, while this seems more sporadic in the moment. I don't think it's bad though, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. The drop leg knife sheath is really solid. Whenever you expose a survivor, you get 10% bonus movement speed for 5 seconds. Now if you're smart with when you reveal a survivor, you can get some serious value out of this. 10% movement speed is very noticeable, especially on an M1 killer. This will get you earlier downs in so many matches. You will get value from this in like every match. On top of that, it actually stacks. So if you expose 2 survivors, then you get 40% movement speed for 5 seconds. It's really good. This is definitely belonging in S tier. Not only is the effect insanely strong, but you will get value out of it really consistently. The driver's license is also really good. Whenever you expose a survivor on a generator, the generator explodes, losing 20% and being blocked for 15 seconds. Now unlike the drop leg knife sheath, it doesn't stack. Which is fair to be honest, getting 40% on one gen would be a bit ridiculous. The value this perk gives is really good, especially if you can get it on a gen that is decently progressed. Like, the effects of this is better than any gen regression perk in the game, and it's not even close. That being said, the consistency of you getting value of this is less in comparison. You definitely will, and it is really clutch, but I find myself not getting value out of this add-on in every single match, which is a pretty big deal. If you can get value, it's great, but if you don't, then you might as well just be using any of these add-ons here. The best play to get value is probably to 99 a survivor and then tap them when they're on the gen. So it is really good, and I would say it is a very high A tier. Maybe I'm just not that great with it and not getting value all the time, but I like to get value pretty much every single game, or I might as well not be using it. It is a super solid add-on though. So finally onto his Eries. For his first Eerie, we have Ghostface Quit on Tape. While using this add-on, when you down a survivor, putting any survivor into dying state, you instantly get your power back. The key with this is it doesn't actually require the survivor to be marked. Just any down whatsoever, you instantly get your power back. That is what makes this add-on pretty freaking solid. You will be constantly getting your power back. That being said, with how you generally play Ghostface is you down a survivor, you pick them up and you put them on a hook. You're not really slugging with Ghostface in general. So what I find in most of my games, if I'm using the Walleyes matchbook for example, which gives me a reduced recovery time by 3 seconds. By the time I've picked the survivor up, I've brought them to a hook, I put them on the hook, and I've gotten a safe distance away so that I won't be revealed by the person on hook, I usually have my power back or are a few seconds away from having my power back. And if I use this grey add-on, 99% of the time I will have my power back. With that in mind, you kinda need a slug to get value out of this Eerie, which as I've mentioned obviously isn't the ideal playstyle. It's good though, it's definitely not bad, and like, let's just say a survivor is really near you just as you down somebody, you can use that to instantly get a little bit of stalk on them, and you'll probably just be revealed by the person on the floor, but you could get a little bit of stalk on them. That can be useful. If you use Infectious Fright, it can also be useful, but in general, I don't find this add-on to be his best Eerie. It is really good though. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Now, Outdoor Security Camera makes it so that when you down a survivor that is marked, you get the auras of all survivors on the map for 7 seconds. Now, if you combine this with the other Eerie, it's actually pretty good. Obviously, you need to get a marked down, which definitely doesn't help with this Eerie, but if you do get a marked down, not only do you instantly get your power back, but you get auras on the rest of the survivors, so you could potentially snowball from that. It's especially nice if you have multiple survivors in the area that are 99, you can just chain down them constantly. It's really satisfying. This is a very, very good Eerie. And honestly, if you use these two together, then this is probably S tier as well. But on its own, it's A tier. Information is key with Ghostface, and this is the best information add-on he has. So there it is, there's the tier list. I know a lot of people would put this and this and this all in S tier, but I personally don't think they're that good. The best add-on combos, in my opinion, would be obviously the two Eerie's. I like to use the drop leg sheath knife and the Walleyes matchbook. I also like to use the Philly along with the Walleyes matchbook. I think the driver's license kind of stands on its own. It's pretty much good with any add-on you want to use it with. I also think Philly and the address book are a good combo. So there it is. If you don't know, I'm live on Twitch every single day at about 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock GMT. So if you have any questions about this tier list, feel free to visit. I think everything in S, A, B, and C tier are usable, but definitely the best add-ons you're going to find in these two tiers right here, with, maybe this too. But yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.